So good morning, Philadelphia Walks PTSD. I'm heading on down to the Ben Franklin Bridge. I felt compelled for some reason to maybe walk across the bridge and to get some footage of it for this channel and Serpico Dreams. So I actually have, I believe, unless someone calls last minute, no dog walks today. So it's been a while since I've had an entire day without a dog walk. So there we go. I just got a text from Walmart saying my accessory. Let's see. Right. I ordered an inexpensive kit of accessories for the GoPro, which I use for my other channel, and it seems it will arrive today. So good morning, Dave. How are you? I think I saw a video, and I don't know if there was a little bit of snow up in your neck of the woods, or if it's just incredibly chilly up there in Bangor, Maine. I thought I'd take a walk all the way down to the Ben Franklin Bridge. It's a little bit of a hike, but I need to keep active, and since I have no dog walks at all today, I figured I'd do this. And it's foggy, so usually you can see the Comcast building, which goes up here. So I'm not sure if, hopefully the bridge will be open for pedestrians. It should be, because it's clear here, but we'll see. Good morning, watching. Hope you enjoyed your birthday. Probably you took it easy. I actually had a whole bunch of walks. Fletcher and Sheldon had to be fed and walked all day yesterday, among others. So their mom was away. Sorry, I'm checking for traffic here. And seems like they're doing work all the way down there too. I can see a crane all the way down there on the bridge. That's another bridge going over to West Philly. So I wound up getting the free, we had snow a week ago. We are expecting 1 to 3 coming tonight. How about that? Right, and Joe said tomorrow's was take it easy day. I guess that means you kind of stay home, Joe. I was kind of curious. I know you come into the city or you go to Springfield Mall, but then there's usually Sunday is a day of sort of not doing too much for a lot of people, even today. So we will head this way. They've got some sort of Laurel and Hardy or black and white show, screens, movies, silent films, or whatever going on in Comcast. I can see it from here. I don't know if you guys can really see it. Center City today. That's right. You did say you were probably coming in. So over there on Comcast, I don't know what to do with myself if I don't have like a set schedule. I mean, I'm not complaining because usually I'll think like, oh my gosh, I think I have a day off coming up where there's not a single dog walk or no one needs anything. And then all of a sudden someone will chime in saying, can you come in and da-da-da. And I thought I was going to have off on my birthday, but unexpectedly Fletcher and Sheldon's mom needed to travel. Let me get away from the puddles and stuff. And their dad sort of needs extra help. He doesn't go up and down the stairs that much. So in fact, they had someone come in to make sure he'd be okay while his wife was gone. So no Springfield. Okay. How long does it take to get to Springfield from Upper Darby? I was thinking about Malvern and Narberth today. I always mix up Malvern and Narberth in my mind. I think because they're both unusual words, and I think they're kind of in the same direction. Like, in my mind, they're off there in the northwest of the city. Like, that's how, oh, little puppy, bulldog, or what have you. So we can go behind, or we can go So of course the Ben Franklin is all the way down there off of, I guess it's more like Arch Race. This is how I think of it. It's really the Vine Street. It becomes a weird Vine Street Expressway debacle. It's a whole wreckage, that whole area. Let's see, you should go to Broomall one day, right? And that's up there in that area, I guess. And Havertown is in the same. Should we do straight through here, or do we want to go further? All right, we will head this way. They have sidewalk closed, so maybe I'll hop and skip over. So this is one of my, I actually have been in this building. I took a training a long time ago it was really Women Organized Against Rape. It was a domestic violence training to understand the dynamics, power and control dynamics and stuff like that between, in certain situations. So it was really helpful because there were things I really didn't understand about that. But since it's foggy, you can't tell. But often, if you were to just look at that's a reflection of that building. That is being reflected in there, or 1717 Arch, either one. I guess, sorry about that. So it's really 1717 Arch is being reflected in the Comcast Center building. So really, on a clear day, you kind of can't tell the difference sometimes. So we're not at the best angle. 1717 Arch is being reflected in Comcast. And 1717 Arch is, of course, the building that, for the most part, hosted the firefighter climb. And they usually do it for, I don't know if it's, say leukemia, cancer, some Toys for Tots, what have you. And they climb all those stairs with gear on, I think, which is totally crazy. I used to work with someone who trained for it, but he worked at a fitness center at the University of Delaware. There's no gang stalker. Oh, okay. I know. I have thought heavily about, in the future, should I ever get the opportunity to move, where would I go? Like, where would be a good place to go? I know, of course, I see the world as having different levels of activity, per se. It's almost like being haunted, for lack of a better word. That would be like a simplistic way to look at it. I'm going to just go halfway over here. But even when I was in Gainesville, of course, Gainesville has the University of Florida, and it ends in VILLE. I swear to God. So I see them as villains. It's a silly thing, but certain things can go on, and it's like, how is that possible? What is it? So some things are street level. There's City Hall down there, and then of course the Love Park is right there. We'll go this way just because this is how I'll get to the bridge, and I'll sort of be away from all the Market Street riffraff and all of that. So anyway, in my book, Duplicity and Duress, Snap Factories in the Making, I try to explain some of the stuff. I also have 2 collections of essays, The Strange Bouquet and the long-term ramifications as seen through a mustard seed philosophy. That's my other collection of essays. So anyway, this is Strayer University and another thing down here. So what's going on in the news today? I haven't really paid much attention. The big thing that came through yesterday was some guy named Santos. I'm not a big political talker, but I didn't even know this. Or Santos said, I didn't even know he existed. That's how out of the loop I am on things going on in that world. So I sort of stay away from it because sometimes it can feed into the negative side of life too much, and it'll show up on the streets in weird ways, and it's like, that's weird. So, all right, we'll head this way because they took down that kamikaze plane, and just the paintbrush remains there at the Arts Festival, or the Philadelphia Fine Arts, whatever it is. Of course, they had the Arts Festival in 2011, which contributed to an overcrowding population in Philadelphia, which contributed to feeling incredibly weirded out and ganged up on in 2011, whenever that thing kicked off, which was a total nightmare. So anyway, head on this way. Number 10. I almost wound up living here. I looked at a place where they rent out rooms for apartments, but it wound up, this is Mole Street, but it didn't work out. It was too uncomfortable and odd. I think about 2 aunts that I have, one is deceased, one is still living, and both of them experienced weird things ages ago. And I wondered if there was a connection, if they kind of knew that stuff went on. And, they're older, so maybe their circumstances looked a little differently than what mine looked like. It's hard to explain. So anyway, I'm sort of not in the brain space to explain all the weird thing is, when I was in the middle of experiencing a lot of attacks, if you will, but it can seem supernatural times or just straight out harassment on the streets. Hard to explain, but it would be like rings of people doing stuff, or people outright showing that they knew your personal business. Like, say you talked about something unusual with your mom or whomever, there would be people out here wearing shirts or even saying words that you never see or hear that often. Like, you just don't. It would be like this. I guess this is too common, but let me think of something really weird. Say the word aperture came up in regards to cameras. That came up. And you were talking about it with, say, your dad or your mom or whatever. And you walk out your door and you see a camera, like a little fake camera in front of your door, like a kid's toy camera, just placed in front of you. I've actually had things placed in front of my door, which would imply people are in the same building in which I live. This isn't today. This would be in the past. Although things do happen where I live now, it's like so it implies that someone knows your private business or can read your brain or listening to your phone or what have you. How would they know that? Or as if your space was tapped or whatever. So, no one, that would happen all the time. People would even wear shirts reflecting something unusual that normally you wouldn't. Or my favorite is, for a while, and I looked this up, there was a university, like say Villanova or LaSalle or similar, they had shirts that said "Game On" the back, "Game On." And, I logically figured out that it belonged to, but at first it became a thing like, not today, because I need to get through this day without having, it would be like, you are the target of a game. So I would walk out my apartment door and 3 or 4 people would be kind of, sliding around the corner in a not conspicuous or inconspicuous, a conspicuous or sort of suggestive way, what have you, that today the game is on. It's like, I don't want to see your shirt today, because and it would be like that. I actually asked someone who was a dog walking client of mine, like, could the company be created? And they could use a fake name like Happiness Industries or Positive Pulses or whatever, but their intention would be to harass someone all day. It's sort of like having a fake whitewashing organic food company. They swear to God they didn't put, all the bad stuff in there. They swear to God there are not any, genetically modified materials. But we're going this way. But, if you can buy something at a regular supermarket, but Whole Foods won't supply it, or a natural food store won't have it in inventory, then more than likely it doesn't really fit the bill for non-GMO organic food. But anyway, I wondered, I saw a documentary years ago about how there are companies that are created and people get paid to do some crazy stuff, and it falls under the name of a company, so it can seem as if it's legitimatized or whatever. Sorry, I'm not saying that word right, but you can't see it, but the police headquarters is up here. It's hiding in the fog. It used to be the Philadelphia Inquirer. I used to work across the street from that building in 401 North Broad, but there's more to this building here, about 3 or 4 blocks up. Do we want race? We'll do race. So what else is going on out there in the world of news and so forth and so on? Of course, Rosalynn Carter just passed away. A sad thing, and then to see former President Jimmy Carter showing up, at 99, and Rosalynn was 96. And I did see a clip on the news of the daughter who saved a love letter from years ago, and she read it for the eulogy. And all those years, dedicated to each other, sort of as part of the political world. And some people might say, when you're part of that world, you sort of wind up in orchestrated communities, or communities that are highly, quote unquote, protected, or so forth and so on, or they operate a certain way. And in that regard, it would be like an okay orchestrated community. I do feel like there were orchestrated people who understood orchestrated communities came out here and did something quite negative. It's like a game for them. I don't know why. I have a totally different mentality. So I don't know why. Here's the Hampton Inn. And I forget which street this is. We'll look at it in a second. Right, Clarion. Okay. So we'll head on this way. There's one of those Nissan Rays. Some of them have like a chunkier feeling to them, and I love those. Like Leaf. I don't know if it's one of the ones that say LEAF. We'll let this car go, and here's a tunnel that leads over to the Reading Terminal Market area. And this is part of the convention center. So the tunnel, that's all part of people sort of walking above and going from one space to the next space, one building to the next building. The convention center has like 3 or 4 buildings, I guess. So Days Inn. This is often, you're right next to a shelter if you stay at this Days Inn. They probably don't advertise that online. Some people would want to know. I actually almost stayed there. This was during the homeless period, where this was after I was staying in someone's home on Apple Tree Street. They needed to close up. Was this before or after Apple Tree? I have to ask my people now. So, and this is Good Shepherd program over here, and St. John's says hospice, but anyway, this is all shelter area-ish and soup kitchen-ish. Sometimes they do like food and stuff like that. People will line up. I don't know the schedule. So Bright Sign Incorporated. Anyway, whenever this occurred in 2018, I called someone who I considered kind of a friend. And I was like, she's like, I was wondering if she would say like I could hang, sort of crash at her place or whatever. But she has a really small apartment, and she might be a little bit of a hoarder. I would come to find out later. She let me keep my things there. Like I had 3 separate piles of things, or stacks of things. And she's one of the people that took in some of my things when I went to Florida, so that the odd part is after I came back to Philadelphia and Delaware to collect all my belongings, then I had to move from Florida not too many months later. So all the money spent on trips back and forth. Anyway, and this was hard-earned money where it's like, should I go now? because my little tiny credit card, which is only $1,500, was at its limit. I was working at Starbucks, a substitute teacher, taught a writing course at Santa Fe Community College, but it was non-credit. So that's more like lifelong learning. Like you can sign up and enough people have to sign up. I was hustling big time to find work. I substitute taught at a private school, much better than public, and so forth and so on. But anyway, I would sort of eke together my pennies, and I was like, I guess now is the time to go back and get my things, because I thought maybe I'd be in Florida permanently. But so is not the case, because my cousins wanted to hurry up and sell their house, and technically where I was living was 55 and older. And this is the conditions of Philadelphia. Often, a new mayor's coming in. I think one of her promises or one of her directives or goals is to try to fix a homeless problem that became a little bit more amplified during the pandemic. So we'll head on this way. We are on Race Street here, entering Chinatown. This is the edge of the Pennsylvania Convention Center, one like northeast corner of it, if you will. From the Tesla. I was over here the other day for Serpico Dreams, my other channel. Check out Serpico Dreams, where I now am posting videos of with my brand new, for my birthday, GoPro 4K Hero 9. So I got it on sale through an Amazon Cyber Monday deal, and was like, I'm just gonna go with it and try to create, better videos. They don't know purpose. So S&D Mart over here. Bethesda Project, a bench is or no longer my bed. So I feel like someone up in the sky who might be a little bit sadistic and greedy, money hungry, decided that everybody, all the original all the people stemming down from my mom had to wind up homeless in one capacity or another, even if it was living in a van during the freezing cold weather with snow occurring during the Army-Navy game in 2017. For some reason, this was appeasing someone out there who's controlling the puppet strings of people's lives. So no one likes to feel like they're on puppet strings, but some of the most successful people are totally puppeted, and they have a lot of properties. And you're wondering, like, how did they get to? They don't even have a real college education, yet they talk so fast. And how do they do that? Puppeted. That's about it. So, Chinatown, ladies and gentlemen. So it'll sort of wake up a little bit later. We had some rain yesterday, so everything will be drying off today. And of course, the market begins. This is usual Chinatown. Before I walked down this street here, 10th Street, on my video on Serpico Dreams, and you can see the entryway to Chinatown all the way up there. I'm going to head towards the bridge, and we'll go this way. Oh, he wanted to be there. So, okay. So, and wait, this has been coming up. I've been smelling a little bit of like rancid meat met with like garlic met with sour milk. You know how every once in a while they pick up on that aroma? 3 times yesterday, and now I'm smelling it here, and it's something that occurs continuously on the north aisle of Reading Terminal Market. For many years it's been like this. Baby bass. I'm just sort of curious, like, why it turns up sometimes. I can get really, just because of what happened, I can get a little bit morbid and wonder, like, oh my God, is there a dead body rotting somewhere that's manifesting through aromas on the street? So here we are in Chinatown, and we'll reach the edge of it here. So we're kind of exiting one of the streets of Chinatown. So we just walked through it per se. it's like a 3-block radius, 3 or 4-block radius all the way around. It can seem smaller. It's, technically the community goes in a little bit north even of Spring Garden. I know that housing for people, they have like special communities, and a lot of people are housed within their own community per se. So even down by Washington Square, there's a building that technically looks a little bit like a dragon, or if you were to look at it, it can look like dragon-ish in nature, like subtly in the architecture of the building. And it is in fact sort of like a retirement or old folksy-ish dwelling place for many people from Chinatown. So we'll head on down here. And of course I was down here many weeks ago, if you recall, for the golf. And I thought about doing Chilly Willy golf. I did the spooky putt-putt. And as you recall, they did the Monster Mash and other songs related to Halloween. So I the funny part is I keep picturing like viewers singing the Monster Mash, which is too funny. Like if everybody started singing the Monster Mash, they did the Monster Mash, they did the mash. So, but then I turned it into, because I had to be a little bit obnoxious. I can't help it. It's part and parcel of what happened to me. But I started saying they did the match because the people in front of me had to match. They had a plaid on and everything. Or they did the math, M-A-T-H. And I kind of joke about that. Like, what if agencies out there did some math on some people? Like, wow, if you really... First of all, if you totaled up the pain and suffering, mental anguish, death threats, and so much more that happened to Sharon Cole, she'd be worth, in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm not exaggerating. It's a little bit of a miracle that I'm still walking around. I know I sound a lot different than I used to, and there's a reason. I was totally redone as a person. Math has been done on people and how much people are out there are willing to take, to be sneaky about and sly about, and so forth and so on. We'll do a second one for the bridge. All right, so this was the walk towards the bridge. And we are here. That building used to be somewhat of a... I think it served the psychiatric community, but I'm not sure in what capacity exactly. Now it's a residential, it's like condos over here, which looks like a tape recorder set. See how it looks like film-ish? This used to be the roundhouse they called it the roundhouse. It was for the headquarters for the police department. Police headquarters, it says on that sign, lonely sign there, all crooked off to the side, all boarded up. Looking about the same as it always has. It's always kind of looked a little bit sort of icky. But this thing, which looks like a phone or a tape recorder or what have you, old school cassette tape or something, no longer. So I come back from Florida and bam, they move the police headquarters. I see it as a good sign of a new world beginning, changes for the positive. So maybe I was meant to return to Philadelphia, even though there's a lot of pain in that process. Mom, dad, aunt dying. Later, my stepmother would pass away, but I was already back here in Philadelphia. We have a bunch of people who wanted to hurry up and sell a house, and they weren't communicative at all. I tried to have an adult conversation, like, I'm not sure what to do. I'm sorry, I'm here. It's beyond my control. Other people forced me into this position, and there was only so much I could do. So anyway, and in a way, I had people saying, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Did they sell the house? Is it already sold? Is it already sold? Meanwhile, I had like 3 weeks to hurry up and leave. I felt I was treated as if I were some sort of Leech, even though I will tell you this, I worked more in the 2.5 years and for more people and hustled more than anyone in Florida who's related to me. We have a lot of semi-fat cats sitting around doing a lot of nothing while I had to hustle and find and obtain and actually do 8 different jobs in 2.5 years. So anyway, but we did have people. I'll walk through here really quick, even though I kind of need to be up and over. It's hard to get to the entryway to the bridge. We'll do the Franklin Square really quick. So I know sometimes I sound a little angry. It's because what happened was so bad. It's kind of in the miracle realm that I'm still here. Oh, Franklin Square station reopening. Oh my God. Patco. They're putting a Patco line in here. Stop it. Did I not know this? It first opened in 1936 and then closed in 79. So they are going to open a station down here, Joe and or Dave or whomever else. This, interestingly, when I first arrived here in Philadelphia and in the early 2000s, before 2010, this was almost known as Crack Park. Like, it sort of was run down, unused. You know, a few drug addicts would sort of hang out here. I guess they still do. And I even took care of a dog over there in that building that has green windows, like green tinted-ish windows, named Brownie. And I used to walk through here and I would be like, should I walk through today or not? Because I would take the shortcut down to a pedestrian walkway down there. And this was what I did in addition to freelancing. So I did a lot of freelance jobs. I was on staff as a writer, then I wound up freelancing. I had a couple good contracts that allowed me to do so because it was sort of the time period. Everybody was in the .com industry and it was promoted to work from home. So it was heavily like a thing. And opportunities existed. So there's the kite for Kite and Key and Electrical Spectacle Light Show, Franklin Square. So there's a lot of electrical spectacles going on where flamingos are. Florida uses a lot of the puppeting programs. Henceforth, you know, a lot of people can seem successful. And you'd be surprised how much easier life can be when you're fed a lot. Comcast Center Food Court and shops at Liberty Place. Okay, I guess, are you headed there now? Or you're there now already? So here we are. We're doing like Tai Chi, but with the so Tai Chi-ish with a stick, I guess. Or doing samurai. Right. I see. Wait, yeah, I see it. So she's teaching the course here. How about that? Is it okay that I? And in Chinese, so, or Fusanese or Chinese. So we'll head on this way. Isn't that neat? And in a way, they're showing, it does matter, like energy movement. Okay, so we'll go through here. Here's the Chili Philly mini golf, which maybe I'll get into, maybe I'll play this another day. So there's the Chili Willy golf. So later, Sharon. Rain tomorrow again. Okay. Okay. So little free library here. So I need to be really over on the other side. I guess I could walk up through back where I used to walk a dog over here. So okay. We'll come on through here. There's some really great murals with electrical, sort of like neon lights, I guess. So the Franklin Square will be home now also to a concourse for the Patco line. I can't believe it. all these years. I'm kind of curious if they would have to I'm wondering how long it'll take, because they would have to reroute the Petco line. I guess it would come off the bridge and then it would shoot up to like Locust Street, like sort of get on the Locust Street line, because it usually comes in via Locust Street, which is north of here. I'm sorry, south of here. I'm headed north. Sometimes I get turned around. Cherry Hill Mall, signage on top of the building where I used to walk a dog many, many, many years ago. We're talking 2004. That's how long ago that was. And that was on the side. Back then I did things on the side for extra money. And because I was freelance writing, it was kind of nice to get out of the apartment. When you're a freelance writer or you earn money a certain way, you can get really isolated and be inside all the time. And there's no, so this is major expressway there, whatever it's called, the Vine Street Expressway and all that stuff. So we'll head on over here, which goes on up to you can exit for the bridge and everything. So there's no traffic coming, so I'm gonna risk it here. But we do have the signage now, pedestrian. Anyway, it gets a little dicey up in this area, just with all the exits and merging and so forth and so on. Okay, we got the blonde crew with the hair buns day. So we'll head on this way. And I think, I'm not sure, did the pedestrian walkway move to the north side? I think they switched it. Everyone is used to going on the south side of Ben Franklin Bridge, but I read somewhere that it might be on the north side. So we wouldn't want to be tossed over the bridge or or say larger people were put on your path to discourage you from walking across the bridge, because if you experience, I'm not usually a suspicious but what I experienced was so bad. Sometimes I wonder, like, what are people willing to do? Of course, people would be charged with murder, right? It would be too obvious. So unless they went crazy on drugs. So I used to come here often. I forget what floor, I want to say 4th floor. And his window faced that side. So faced west. Jonathan. And so he had a dog named Brownie. He was living here because of a fire. Oddly, he was one of the lead attorneys on the Green Valley fire case from years ago, which yielded, a lot of damage and money, apparently. And his own home wound up having some sort of emergency weird fire thing. He lost a cat, but his dog was saved. And were people threatening him because the case that he worked on was worth so much money that it's like, was he under attack or was this some weird thing? So is this where the Angry Chicken used to park? I'll go towards the bridge. There used to be like a lot here, and the trucks with I call it the Angry Chicken. They used to park back here somewhere. I walked around so much, particularly during the time period when I wound up sort of having to leave my apartment, and so I just walked around and around. It's hard to explain. Everybody winds up in weird situations for one reason or another, I guess, if you decide to pursue your dreams or become a real person as opposed to a fake one. It's hard to explain. Sort of went through the real rigmarole. So anyway, here we go. Ben Franklin Bridge. I wanted to walk over it. I know it takes a while to get in here, but I was determined. Should I do a new video just for the bridge or? All right. I know there's a commuter in New York, and he usually does the Brooklyn Bridge or similar every morning. He walks from Brooklyn into New York City every day. Do not cross roadway. They have this side up. Everyone is so used to that. Used to be the open side for many years. Now they flipped it, made this side it's open. Despite So let's do the bridge walk. Free Coffee Tuesdays, Joe, on Wawa Rewards. I love Hot Dads, Spencer's. There's always good signage up here. So here we go, the bridge walk. Get some exercise in. It's Old City. So the other side is also partially Old City. It's like Ben Franklin Bridge cuts through Old City basically. Then eventually on that side, it starts to morph into Society Hill. The bridge walk is a long, long, long walk. So I'm always fascinated. I walked a lot in Old City. And it's amazing, like, to see all the different condos, apartments, homes. I can already see the little bridge car up here. Hopefully the fog isn't so bad then. Isn't that neat? And this bridge leads over to Camden. Of course, immediately on the other side of the bridge is the aquarium, the Camden Aquarium. Technically, it's on that side over there on the right side. Also, there's the venue. I forget, Campbell Soup is over there, but there's a venue for concerts, but it's seasonal. So it's usually only open, it's an open air venue. So it's open during spring, summer, and maybe just a smidgen of the fall. Not sure what else is going on out there in the world. And I see a bike coming this way, I think. Way up there with a flashing light. More of Old City. Here's Chocolate Works. This is actually a building called Chocolate Works. Bridgeview Place over there with the signage. Did anyone see the new Willy Wonka advertisements? Willy Wonka is coming out. And Adam, a viewer and a friend, reminds me a little bit of this Willy Wonka character. It's like, in a way, he could be, where's the golden ticket? Right. Where's the golden ticket? So, Johnny Depp is retired. He played, and then of course Gene Wilder was the original Willy Wonka. I have 3 layers on. I have a designer hoodie, I guess. It's not exactly a hoodie. It has like a quilty front to it. Then I have a shell that was given to me for free. It's a North Face shell. So a company gave it to a client of mine. See, that's a lot of fog. Normally you would see beyond that fog out there. So, New Balance. Someone just joined my LinkedIn, and New Balance is associated with that person. I'll head on this way. I would do this bridge walk, like, say, every morning as like a ritual, or, sort of like the commuter guy in New York City. But it is far away from where I live. It's like kind of a hike to get down here. And I don't know if, based on my schedule and so forth and so on, I'm not sure if I'd be able to do it. So we'll see. Every once in a while I get motivated and it's like, I'm going to do it and make it like a consistent thing that people can rely on. So this would be I-95 and all that. Columbus Boulevard, I-95, all the way up there. So those nice condos or apartment buildings up there right before Penn Treaty Park. This is the other side of Old City here. Thank you. So you would normally see a lot more of the height of the bridge. So it goes higher up, but foggy this morning. Walking over I-95. How crazy is that? Isn't that neat? So up here, there's a little tiny smart car, similar. They can drive those little smart cars on the sidewalk here. It's always manned, these bridges, for security reasons. At night, the pedestrian walkways are closed at night. So, but the daytime security is here to make sure nothing goes wrong. The Benjamin Franklin Bridge. It's a tradition to walk this bridge or do a run on this bridge the day before the Philadelphia Marathon for some groups. I joined in with the front runners a long time ago, 2009 and 10. There's a golf cart up here for good measure. And that was their thing. It would be part of their prep and their training the day before the Philadelphia Marathon would be to run the Ben Franklin Bridge. So, and can you imagine, can you believe that people worked on this bridge? People built this thing, and I can't even imagine that today. Isn't that crazy? All these people up in the rafters. Here's your looks like a DNA strand a little bit. So, let's see over here. Going to Camden, take it easy day. Right, rain tomorrow, right. That's right, I may not be able to do much in terms of walking. We'll come over here. Franklin Bridge. And the Delaware River. So typically you see walkers, runners. I might be a little bit early for a Saturday. It's not that cold. It's kind of mild. And people might be tired with the holidays. I'm surprised though. Usually there's runners and stuff. And after a marathon, I know a lot of people are still in that mode. Your body has to keep running. It's almost automatic. And you don't want to just stop cold and not, not run, right? And the body needs to do it. If you were to stop running, it would either be, I guess, a major injury and or I don't know. Let me think about this. Some other reason, but so head on this way. I see one walker up here. Some people actually pedestrian commute almost daily. So how do you get to and from Camden if you don't have a car? Or from Philadelphia to Camden or Camden to Philadelphia, either which way. If you don't have a car or you're kind of stuck, there's the Patco line, which runs under that side. I guess it's both sides. Like if you're going, right, is it? Right. Okay, that makes sense. I'm so, so if you're going over to Camden, it would run on that side. The one coming over to Philly would run on the side that I'm on now, underneath the pedestrian walkway. So all of a sudden you would hear it, Yoga used to be over there on the Ray Street Pier. And of course, you'd see the Patco line going over, and it would be so loud that the instructors would have a hard time getting their voices to go over the sound of the Patco line. They eventually wound up with amplifiers like microphones, but it can get really loud out there on the Ray Street Pier. They still do some yoga, but it's not like it used to be. I don't know what happened. It's a hot topic for anyone who was very serious about yoga and who cherished the 75 to 90 minute vinyasa flow. You can almost never find 75 to 90 minutes of a true vinyasa flow today. There's water down there. So Philly kind of had to shift gears, I guess. I'm not really sure what the dealio is, but if you really miss good yoga, I'm in the boat with you on that one. So I sort of took a cue from the New York City walking commuter, the guy walking commuter, I think his name is Gabe. So he, for quite a few years, many years it seems like, has been walking almost religiously every morning from Brooklyn to Manhattan. So there's the Brooklyn Bridge. I noticed he did a George Washington Bridge walk the other day. So they have the GW Bridge out there. There must be a bus terminal or something there in addition to the Port Authority bus terminal, because I was looking up bus trips to New York. I don't want to take the bus. I'd rather take Amtrak. I'm sick of the bus. I rode the bus many, many times. And it can get really gross. So let me sort of do the check here. There, I'll let these guys go if that's okay. Some runners. I feel safe now. I don't know if they have this on the other side, this little extra narrow section. But anyway. So the walking commuter in New York City, he's been going for a long time. He's on YouTube, but also he maintains like a Discord channel and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of help going on. Like I feel like there's a large community for New York in general, because they're used to being on display. Like they're used to people walking around with cameras. Philly's a little bit on the edge in terms of people walking around live streaming, doing all that. There's a lot of people here who don't love it, you know what I mean? So they're just not used to it for some reason. And then there's the exploitation factor, which I totally agree with and have worried about. And if I had had a camera in 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, boy, what a lot of evidence I would have collected. I wish I could have walked around with a camera. It did go against my original principles back then. I also didn't have the money or the capacity or the time. I was running around like crazy as a dog walker. I would argue that I was human trafficked on some level. I was trafficked through dog walking while having to be exposed to and being tortured through harassment and so forth and so on. It's hard to explain. So I wound up writing books, but I paid for everything. I had to self-publish. I did send in like hundreds of query letters over the course of my writing career. But I'm way out here in no man's land where you have to have connections, you have to know people. There are worlds that have existed, almost orchestrated and organized, and they keep people out big time. No one's really wowing anyone in the publishing industry. You're just already an Ivy League graduate and so forth and so on, and maybe have a mafia dad and they can strong arm plop down some money and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, so we'll head on this way over the Ben Franklin Bridge. A few early birds here. Oops, someone brought their dog out here. Or it could be human, it's possible. So I just thought dog. I know people do walk their dogs over the bridge and stuff, but all right, we made it. Yeah, sometimes the bridge can be a little bit scary. I'm on the downslope. It feels shorter on this side for some reason. When I first returned to Philadelphia, the other side was still walkable. They're doing construction now. This side was closed down. And I was like, God, it seems extra long. It felt extra long on that sign. Anyway, this isn't too bad. I know this is a long stretch to get down into Camden. Joe was going to Shops at Liberty and Comcast this morning, going to Camden. Take it easy. Rain tomorrow. I don't know what time, Joe, you were coming in, if you take the train, if you're on the train at this point in time, or what. Joe offered me a coupon for a free pretzel, or half off, or a free pretzel. I kind of forget now, from the pretzel factory, so I'll take him up on it eventually here. Yesterday was my birthday. I got a free latte from Starbucks. I usually don't use the app. In fact, I'll have to uninstall it off my phone because I don't like, I don't want it to be there, because it's like a gambling mentality where it's like all of a sudden you want to get like 1 million points. Oh, I thought that was on the, sorry. I thought the horn was actually on the street. So anyway, because if you have that Starbucks app, all of a sudden it's like, oh, they have half off drinks they had half price drinks on Thursday, the day before my birthday. Also, November is a Hathaway month, so 30 days, half November, blah, 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 whatever that poem is. I'm wondering if they put a play on that a little bit. So let me sort of do a really quick, I'll do this with the phone, but I'm not turning around. I'm just we'll just sort of do a little thing there. Usually, I can't believe this other side is open now. And the other one, and the south one is closed. Now, I felt a little raindrop there, so we'll see if I didn't bring my umbrella on purpose because it said no rain. So unless it's raining high up and the bridge is collecting precipitation that's not making it down to the ground. So I was told to say that, but yes, that's some precipitation never makes it to the ground. So it's on the airwaves somewhere. So someone caught it and sent it my way. Aloe vera farmers. All right. I would almost do this every day, but I'm a little bit nervous just because it's such a high bridge. I think the Brooklyn Bridge is more walkable. It's made for runners, walkers. It's a lot of people take the Brooklyn Bridge and do a whole thing. I don't know how scary it is. And right, I wanted to do a pan around there. So I totally want to go. I have a bucket list of things I want to do in New York, and you can only do so much one day in New York, especially on foot and everything. I want to pay for a cab and all that stuff. Hey, isn't that neat? And people actually cross that. No way. So anyway, So to take the train into New York, RIDICULOUS, ridiculous. I am so not kidding. I realize this time of year it might be more expensive because of the holiday, shows everywhere, spectacular. Everybody wants to go to New York to see Rockefeller Center and so that, and they go to theaters. One-way ticket, one way from Philadelphia. The cheapest, maybe the cheapest, would be like $72 if you go at like 3:30 in the morning or just after midnight, on a Thursday, Otherwise, $86 one way or $100 and some one way. And the same, and likewise back. Unbelievable. Now the buses, on the other hand, totally different. $20 one way, so $40 round trip. You can even go cheaper if you take advantage of a bunch of deals. I've gone round trip to New York for $14. So let me see. The Philly captain tried his walking on the Ben Franklin Bridge. He's afraid of heights, Sharon. Right. Oh, okay. Right. I am also. So I'll have to look for it to see if he posted. I am afraid a little bit of heights, but we got over it today. I'm gonna throw out a little bit of a conspiracy here. What if it's easier to walk on the north side because of the way your body, brain, and eyes are configured? The south side might have been scarier. Now, admittedly, when you walk on the north side towards Camden, of course, you're naturally on the inside and you don't have to move to the outside. When you walk towards Camden on the south side, you would be on the water side. So this is comfortable. Luckily, it's not crowded. On the walk back, I'll probably stay on the inside a little bit. But I know that Philly captain, he's made it to, I think Fox News and there's a couple news stations that picked him up. I think he was on like he did a sports thing on Fox. So kudos to him, getting, the subscriptions and the views. Many years ago, I interned with WHYY in Delaware. And back then other things were going on in my life anyway, and I was a lot younger. But I kind of knew I didn't want to have to put up with the rigmarole, because there's at least at WHYY way back in the day in Delaware. This was TV, WHYY TV. They have radio and TV. And I was like, I kind of couldn't put up with some of the personalities. I'm more of a truth seeker. I'm sort of I think there's a spiritualness that's just innate in my being. Not necessarily overly godly or whatever, but it's more like I can't put up with surface talk. I have a short toleration for BS, I guess. Not that, and I'm not saying that, Philly captain, totally awesome. I'm glad he got there because you have to like put your hat in the ring, send emails, or maybe get noticed because you have so many subscribers or what have you. I'm sort of one of these private people over here. I don't have a whole posse. I don't have a huge community. I don't know a lot of people. And at WHYY, I was like, I can't put up with some of these personalities of people who are desperate, right? There's a desperation to be a superstar or famous. It's hard to explain. Like, it does sort of, get on one's nerves. If you're more grounded and solid, technically more sensitive and spiritual, it becomes a thing where you're like, that is so unattractive that one of the anchors was just so superficial. It was ridiculous. It was in the weird realm of, that's weird. Is she mentally ill? That's how bad that was. So anyway, we'll head on this way. I studied writing. I went to school. It was sort of like you had to go to school when I was growing up, and I didn't want to disappoint. I'm one of these people where it's like I had no idea what I was going to do. I'm supposed to go. Everybody's got to look good because they. So anyway, point being, got the English degree, then kept interning or trying out different things to see where I could pursue, take my writing skills and pursue work, like just basically employment. And one of my internships was at WHYY in Wilmington, and I got to do a news piece all by myself, but I think they tossed it to me because, meaning usually you help other people do their news pieces. I think they tossed it to me because nobody else wanted to do it. It was Hemp Day. April, it would have been 4/20, 1990 something. And they had a whole day in Rodney Square. Someone told me to talk about this, but I don't usually, I kind of forget sometimes I did this. So I interviewed people at Rodney Square for basically Pot Day, Hemp Day. And I didn't even know it was a day back then. This was in the 90s. And they put that on the air for a few minutes. So really quick, I just want to say, they don't have much of a separation here, do they, on the Ben Franklin Bridge? On the Brooklyn Bridge, there might be it's a different experience. Is it mostly walkers on the Brooklyn Bridge? They would have more of a divide. So you feel like, bus coming up here, you feel like it could topple over, sort of just keep cascading. Here we go again, right? Don't topple over, don't topple over, don't topple over. So do some cities make it a practice to scare people or to create jealousy or competition, rivalry? Everybody's vying for this, that, and the other. So I'm 53. I've been through a lot of hoops in my life. You'd be surprised. And it's just like, I'm more of a natural person, I guess. And there's too much rapiness going on in other worlds. It's pretty bad out there. So here we are, right? It is addictive to say that. Be careful. Thank you. So it is addictive to say that. So I have to hand it to him because he has sort of encapsulated Philadelphia. He knows Philadelphia. He grew up in a very rough way from what I can tell. He does have a good scooter and a nice car. So I gave up those things to live here in the city. But he's used to living in a certain area, and it's pretty rough out there. I would not at all I wouldn't have wanted to grow up where he grew up. So I will hand it to him on that. Kensington, Port Richmond, right. I've been up there as a volunteer, and I knew someone who lived right across from that gas station on Somerset there in Port Richmond, Hinge Cafe. So I did get around for someone who moved here from Delaware. I did find my way around, and I wound up volunteering with nonprofits. Bridesburg, that's right. Yes. I actually knew someone who lived in Bridesburg. Again, Michael Hooper and his partner. So Michael Hooper was a guy who, I guess do I want to do Camden? I have we'll do a little bit of Camden with my Vivitar, with my GoPro. But I worked in the Giovanni's Room bookstore, a gay bookstore. It's no longer a bookstore now; it's AIDS Thrift. And again, my birthday is on World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day came later in the 80s, 90s. I was born in 1970. Also, I'm immune to HIV and AIDS because of an O-negative blood type that has a mutated gene that slams the door on the virus. O-negative blood people might have a higher immunity than most people to viruses, disease, and so forth and so on. So, can I get over to Camden? Is the question. Is there an underground route, just because it's a major highway here? If not, oh well. I feel like there is a way. Well, let's see. How far do I have to walk to maybe get over to Camden? Camden's on the other side. So anyway, But Michael Hooper came into, I think this is the underground. Let's see. Let me check. They don't want me to do it. Great, that's not too bad. We can do this. Michael Hooper and Bob works for Conrail, I think. But Michael Hooper, long hair, kind of transvestite-ish. And we would get coffee every Sunday. He came in with the Washington Blade, which is the Washington, D.C. gay newspaper. So this is the side that normally pedestrians use for years and years and years until they switched it recently. They flip things a lot in Philly. I guess they decided they will work on this side and the other side is done. So I'll head on into Camden here. So anyway, Michael Hooper, I'm pretty sure he said Bridesburg is where he lived with his partner. I know he took the L way up there, way past, you have to go way past all that stuff, Kensington, so forth and so on. So all the lines, which I totally forget. Someone wants to give me Vernon. I don't know why they're giving me Mount Vernon. That's down here. That's closer. That's just up there north of Spring Garden-ish or so. So it's before Spring Garden. Right. I actually take care of cats on Mount Vernon. So anyway. All right. Do we want to walk this way or do we want to walk through? They have Rutgers, Camden here, University. Walk through the campus. And I worked with someone who got her master's at Rutgers. Then she went on for a law degree, I think. I kind of forget. I didn't always love her. This is someone who worked at, I'll be honest, North American Publishing Company. Get this. And that was at 401 North Broad back in the day. Now they're on 1500 Spring Garden. But, and Sarah was her name. And turns out her dad was a preacher on, get this, wait for it, drumroll please, on the USS Cole, which was bombed in the Gulf War. And my last name is Cole. So do you think her dad was really a preacher on the USS Cole? Do you think it's like a crazy coincidence? Who puzzled people together like this? I believed her. I still believe her. How do you come up with that kind of story? Do you want to go straight through campus or? I've been only over here once. We'll go this way. Clean hybrid electric. So just sort of took a little route here and I guess I'll do a live stream back after I take some shots with the GoPro. So Bridesburg, way up there. It's a lot of effort to come out and get down to, say, Center City and elsewhere. If you have a car, then good. It makes it a little bit easier, I guess. I'm so used to walking and or riding a bike or scooting all around, around Center City. Of course, the scooter is sort of, in the closet right now, folded up because the battery ran out. They don't have any inventory left of the battery that I need from GoTrax. And I took it as a little sign from God, maybe to take it easy on the scooter and not go out there just because my experience was so bad that I do worry. Who was out to get me hurt? That is crazy stuff. So we did it for a while and I will wait. I don't want to spend my money on a battery right now. I'm okay walking. And this year we won't DoorDash or do anything. Last year I DoorDashed after the yoga habit debacle. I'll just continue walking here. I forgot, how far in it was to the water, but this is fun. I needed something to do today. No dog walks, nothing on the schedule. So, and I don't want to not be active. This is sort of like Gainesville-ish. It feels a little Gainesville, but in the city. Gainesville, Florida. Oh, there's a Campbell Soup mural down there. Should we do it or? Let's do Campbell Soup really quick. It's nice and super early, and on a campus like this, nobody gets up early, so everybody's kept asleep. We don't need any overly ambitious people going on. So, little squirrel. Hi, Mr. Squirrel. Oh, yes. I wish I had food. I keep thinking about getting a kibble bag and like carrying seed for birds and stuff. Like technically, I could walk through, but the Andy Warhol and the Campbell Soup. So, of course, Campbell Soup Company was over here. I think they changed it. Are they still? I don't see the signage like I used to see. I will cut through. This seems like an empty lot. So, RCA, both feet, and so forth and so on. There's that dog from the RCA. Remember that? And he thought of something. So, condensed tomato soup. And of course, what made people start to create certain types of foods? I guess there's wartime efforts, rations, the Depression era. I'm just going with it. M&Ms were created for the army. I saw this on a documentary. This or some sort of food program. So the military needed some sort of chocolate candy snack, but that didn't melt in your hands. So they came up with that hard candy shell. So we just keep going. I'm trying to sign. I want to do waterworks. Oh, there's a park over here, so we'll do this. I've only been over here walking like once before. I had a skateboard and I skateboarded over here. So I didn't take the electric one. I brought a smaller one that I had. So believe it or not, electric is easier just because I didn't learn how to skateboard as a youngster where you sort of develop it. And, you know, it takes a lot of time to get good at skateboarding. And it seems like everybody's having a nice coast, but it's a lot of hard work because you have to keep pushing with your foot. So it's push, kick, coast. So push would be one foot's on the board, then you sort of do that pedal with your foot and you push. Or no, wait, push, kick. But you push, so your foot's on the ground. So you push. Then you got to lift your foot up in the back and then kick, and then you can then sort of put it on the board with the other foot. There's a whole sign by Lupe Fiasco or something like that about the whole push, kick, coast scenario or process. Hey, I didn't realize how far the bridge. Should we walk through? So Little Camden, I have to put that on the title. Rutgers, it's really quiet over here. I think I just need to go straight down. I kind of forget. Right, there was a little squirrel. There he is, hiding. He was on top of the trash can, but... So I'm just going to go straight. This reminds me of it's like a library. We'll coast on down here. So skateboarding, the manual skateboard is really hard. Also your hips, you get a lot of work on one leg depending on if you're right-footed, left-footed, goofy or not. And goofy would be a left-footed person who needs to kick with their... So I'm right-footed, so I would naturally put my left foot on the board and try to push and kick with my right. But a goofy person would be left-handed or left-footed, and they would need to put their right foot on the board and push and kick with their left. So it's just the way the brain works, and maybe the bridge which is over there, is a little bit like that. Is it harder to walk on the south side because of the way our eyes are construed? We'll see on the way back. Technically I want to walk on the inside. But that felt shorter than... I swear to God, the other side is longer. I don't know why it felt so long on the other side in the past. It was like, God, how long is this? How long do we have to walk on this side? Even as a runner, I ran with that group, the Philadelphia Runners, or the Front Runners. the day before the Philadelphia Marathon back in probably 2010. And it just seems so long, like on the south side. So I'm walking on up to the waterfront here. I know, should I get a treat for or reward myself with, right? I thought about that earlier. It just came up again. I'm really tight with my money. I don't, it is like keep a roof over the head. That's priority number one. Then we'll go from there. I was slammed in such a way that it's hard to work like a normal person. I know it can seem like an excuse, but I've had so many jobs that I am in Camden right now on the east side of the Ben Franklin Bridge. The Ben Franklin Bridge is over there. I just walked over the, whatever you call it, north side, the pedestrian walkway that's open, the only one that's open on the Ben Franklin Bridge right now, which is the complete opposite of all those years everyone walking on the south side. The south side offers a little better view because you can look down to the aquarium. You can see the Walt Whitman Bridge, which is further down that way. I think you can. And a lot of lights and everything. When you're on the north side, you look north to the city, and there's not as much, spectacular lighting going on and that kind of stuff. But there's the Ben Franklin Bridge, and I'm in Camden, walking towards the water. There's the American Water and this Triad, what have you thing. Also, there's the Camden Aquarium up here, and of course the musical venue where they hold concerts. It's an outdoor venue, open air. I forget what it's called. It's one of these places that probably changes names every year, depending on what bank is in control. I don't think it's a Wells Fargo, is it? I'll have to look it up again. So I never do stuff like that because it's so expensive. Also, I mean, it would be fun if you had people to go with. If not, you're just like hanging out, And I did go with someone, an old client of mine named Courtney, a guy who lived in the neighborhood. I took care of his German Shepherd named Aida. And we went over to see this popular musician, but I didn't know who the guy was because I'm so out of the loop. And technically this was during the years that I was experiencing all this stuff. And every while someone would chime in and serve as a social person. I swear to God, I feel like they're assigned and assigned me per se. He's like, do you want to go? Because I don't know if somebody bailed on him or whatever. He's like, totally, you want to go? So I was like, I'll go because I need to do something. I can't and I forget, it was like the Dancing Devil on the cover of his album, I think. Anyway, we came over and I said, well, since you gave me this ticket, I'll pay for refreshments or whatever. Little did I know, because it's been so long since I've done anything like this. Little did I know that refreshments are, you're talking $20 for a soda. I was like, are you kidding? I couldn't believe how expensive refreshments were. That's how out of the loop I am. So Ben Franklin Bridge from Camden. They have a Hilton Garden Inn here. So Hilton Garden Inn. So I don't know the name of the artist. I had been listening to Depeche Mode for some reason at the time, and I had on one of those shirts, as a Violator shirt. So it's that's the name of one of their albums, Violator. And we were near the front. He was like 2 or 3 rows back from the front. So I don't know if the musician noticed this somehow. Right, whatever. It came through oh God, he probably hated Depeche Mode. I don't know that he would even notice with all the lights and everything. It came up oh, what if this was the wrong shirt to wear to this concert and everyone hates Depeche Mode because they're fans of blah, blah, blah. Who knows? I kind of doubt it. I don't think that way, but the experience can make people think that way. So we have police in the house down here at Hilton Garden Inn. Victor Place, Penn Street. And 1 Penn. Welcome, Hilton Garden Inn. I did not know this. I had no idea this was here. So this is all a developed section of the waterfront. This newer stuff opened more recently. So there's the Ben Franklin Bridge, which I just walked across. So there's two peaks there. And so I'm kind of at the, I guess, right, I could cross over on that side. Here, I'll go over here because I want to cross over this thing here. And this is the Camden waterfront. That's the city of Philadelphia over there. So part of it, you can't see everything because of the fog. So, right. That would stink if they closed the Ben Franklin Bridge. You couldn't get over. That's so funny. I would just have to, bite the bullet and get a Uber or what have you. I'd have to download the app again. So there's the Ben Franklin Bridge. And then you could like sit up here on these so happy birthday, 53 years old. I've been through so many experiences. I'm kind of grateful for some of them because I already know the rigmarole, and to be able to make the decisions to say yes or no. I do want this, I don't want that. Of course, whatever began in 2011, that's way out there. I do know there's a reward somewhere at the end of the tunnel, and happily take it. Joseph Campbell and Abraham Anderson formed the Anderson and Campbell Preserve Company. That's good to know. Anderson, is that also New Balance? In 1869 in Camden, which changed its name to Campbell and Company in 1896. Wow, that's ages ago. That is so long ago. John Dorrance, and of course we have a Dorrance Street, a chemist working for Campbell and Company, developed a commercially viable method to condense soup. By 1922, soup became so important to the that it was renamed Campbell Soup Company. Today, it is headquartered in Camden and sells products to over 100 countries. Wow. There used to be a big, gigantic Campbell Soup sign, and I don't recall seeing it. Like, I don't know what they did with it. So I'm also not walking over in this area where, meaning I'm not often on the most eastern side of the city. But here's American Water and Triad 1828, that building up there. So big, long walk. I know it's not New York City, but this is the best we can do. And here's the Riverwalk here of Camden. Here's someone on a kayak. No way. People do come out here and do things like that, but there's a red kayaker out there under the bridge. So we'll see if he comes by. There's a few ducks, maybe a goose here or there. A lot of geese go up to the Schuylkill River Waterworks area and Lloyd Hall, but there is a goose out here. Aw, I totally gotta get a kibble bag for feeding the geese and the ducks and stuff like that. He's going towards the ladder over there. Of course, here's there. Let me just check to see. Here he comes. We'll kind of show the kayak guy. Isn't that neat? There's a picture. And of course, there's another Ferris wheel over here. That's the rink on the Schuylkill River. The Delaware River at Penn's Landing. Of course, there's another Ferris wheel at City Hall right now just for the holidays. Very peaceful. The water's like glass today. Me. just sort of, just like milk, just sort of, and silk, just sort of paddling through. There goes a goose fluffing over. Oh, yeah. And he'll go off into the sunset there. Okay, so we'll walk around. This is what I'm doing with my time on my day off. The thing is, I haven't really had a day off in a long time. There's always been at least a couple walks each day, even though that's the Patco line going over on the bridge there, heading into Camden. And they call it the Patco line as opposed to, say, the Camden line. So I forget what it stands for. And usually there's, walks to be done or what have you. So it's a thing of, I could walk here or there, but how long is it going to take? Is it going to be too much of a problem? So this is what I'll do to get some exercise in for the morning. Something just went by because it's creating waves there, whatever you call that, in the back. Should we go up to the... Oh, there it is. A tugboat, kind of going that way. I didn't know they had all this. We'll do this thing here. This is Camden Rising, a lasting legacy. The Delaware River played a fundamental role in the development of Camden. Ferries to and from Philadelphia in the 1600s led to settlements along the river. By the 20th century, industrial uses dominated the waterfront, with the Victor Talking Machine Company and Campbell Soup employing thousands of residents. Okay, we got a funky aroma up here, but I might, right. And right, there's the ferry is over here. That's the ferry that runs seasonably or what have you, to the outdoor arena over there where they have concerts and stuff like that. It doesn't operate all year round. I was going to do the ferry with the live stream, but it doesn't operate all year round. So I'll have to wait on that one. But that's where you would pick up the ferry in front of that naval ship. The naval ship is sitting there for now for some reason. There might be a couple. It's hard to tell. Like a fleet of naval ships. But that's where you would go to the concert hall where that dome is over there. And this is... Camden Riverwalk. So really, I guess some people decided to scoot on down this way. I won't do that just because I don't want to slip and get all, it's free to do laundry, but I still avoid people in the building and everything. So I don't want to have to do my laundry more than need be. It's free. There's laundry on every single floor. I actually go up to the floor right above me because it's smaller, and I normally don't run into that many people. It's right above my apartment practically. It's like across the hall and above. So that's it. I'm going to take some shots with my GoPro, and then I'll be back on live streaming to come back across the bridge in the reverse direction. I believe I'll live stream again. We just did almost an hour and a half. Yeah, an hour and a half live streaming from 17th and Walnut, or 135 South 17th Street, all the way through the city to the Ben Franklin Bridge and over to Camden. So that took about an hour and a half on, walking time with a live stream. Thank you so much, Joe and Dave. And for whomever might have stopped in more inconspicuously. Thank you. I appreciate the conversation. And I probably will be back on to live stream on the way back. I'm not certain. We're trying to make it a decision. But I'll see you on the flip side. And thanks again. Have a beautiful morning.